They are accusing Democrats of saying we spend too much. For anyone that wants to entertain that thought, I ask you to think about the last time a person has said in this country that the government does too much for them, that their Social Security check was too high, that teachers are paid too much. When was the last time anyone has heard or seen that?
Wait, hold on. This is where it starts to feel off. You've got people pushing for more government, but everyone else is staring at $32 trillion in debt like, who is this actually helping? Because think about it for a second. When was the last time the government stepped in and you genuinely felt better off?
President Biden already lowered the deficit by $1.7 trillion. They say his budget would cut the deficit by another $3 trillion by eliminating wasteful spending on big oil and pharma, we're told. But it is in fact our Democratic colleagues who prefer to maintain their massive subsidies for the elites and the wealthy in their so-called Inflation Reduction Act just last year. My friend from New York, Ms. Ocasio-Cortez, said, quote, I ask you, think about the last time a person has said in this country that the government does too much for them. When was the last time anyone has heard or seen that? I'll say it. I'll say it right here. I don't want the government doing most of the things that the government is doing to interfere with the ability of the American people to carry out their lives. Federal, state, and local. When was the last time you had a bureaucrat show up and you said, oh joy, thank you, I'm really glad there's a bureaucrat here? When was the last time you were thankful for $32 trillion in debt, $100,000 almost for every man, woman, and child in America? Anybody thankful for $32 trillion in debt? Anybody? Anybody thankful for a border that's wide open being exploited by cartels while fentanyl comes in and kills our children? Everybody thankful for that Department of Homeland Security that doesn't actually secure the homeland? Everybody thankful for an FBI that went after Scott Smith and labeled him a domestic terrorist for daring to defend his daughter in a school board meeting because she was assaulted in a bathroom? Anybody thankful for the IRS knocking on your door, auditing the poor and the minorities 3 to 5 times more? People thankful for that? Are you thankful for the EPA or the Department of Interior that sent a man to prison because he had some ponds on his ranch in Montana? We have a government that is weaponized against the American people and is undermining our liberties, and they want more of it. My colleagues on the other side of the aisle want more government. They want more taxes. They want more spending. They want more bureaucrats knocking on your door.
Wait, I've heard this before, and it sounds convincing at first. The whole idea is nobody thinks the government does too much. And yeah, when you frame it around Social Security, teachers, public programs, it feels like common sense. But the second you step back and actually look at what's happening right now, it starts to fall apart. Because this isn't really about whether those programs should exist. That's not the real conversation. It's about how big this thing has gotten, how far it's stretched, and how disconnected it feels from the people it's supposed to serve. I mean, look at the reality. We're sitting on $32 trillion in debt. That's not just a number. That's like $100,000 per person. And nobody's waking up thinking, yeah, I'm glad the government borrowed all that in my name. It always starts like this. You're told it's necessary. You're told it's helping. But then you look around, and things don't feel better. You've got real concerns about safety, about the border, about communities being affected, and people aren't asking for more of the same. They're asking why it's not working. And then there's the everyday experience. When was the last time more regulations, more oversight, more bureaucracy actually made your life easier? Because for most people, it feels like the opposite. More paperwork, more audits, more decisions being made by people you didn't choose and can't hold accountable. And here's where it really flips. You hear, we're cutting the deficit. But at the same time, the system keeps expanding, more spending, more programs, more control. And if you follow that logic all the way through, how do you shrink the problem while growing the machine that created it? That's not fixing it. That's just calling it something else. But honestly, the deeper issue isn't even the money. It's trust. Because once people start feeling like the system isn't fair, like it's picking winners and losers, like the rules aren't applied the same way, everything changes. People stop believing in it. And that's where we are now. So when someone says, nobody thinks the government does too much, I don't know. That doesn't line up with what people are actually feeling. They might not say, my benefits are too high, but they are saying, my taxes feel heavier, my freedom feels smaller, and my voice feels ignored. And maybe I'm wrong, but that sounds like something much bigger than just policy. It sounds like a system people are starting to question altogether.